salute.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Hey, Father, just come before you. We just thank you for all the blessings you have given us. We thank you for allowing us to participate in being part of our community. And we just thank you, Lord, as we getting closer to the end of this year. We just ask that continue the blessings for 2023, and we thank you for the safety of all of our house members and then also our staff. In Jesus' name.
Here we can get approval of agenda.
So Mayor, staff has one request under management report number 5 that we move that to a future date.
Just pull it for tonight.
Yes.
Any other comments, questions? Motion?
Make a motion to approve agenda, pulling management report number 5 to a future date.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by council member or Mayor Pro Tem Gibbons, seconded by council member Espinoza.
Councilmember Alvarado,
Yes.
Given,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
and Proud.
Yes.
And I
Public
believe-
comment time.
I'm sorry, I believe Councilmember Lopez made that second. Sorry, just wanted to clarify.
Anyone care to come forward at public comment time? May come forward at this time and give us your name and your address.
Thank you.
They don't go that way. They go to this meeting. Right? Yeah. Anyone for public comment? Oh, okay, hearing none. Move on to council announcements and reports. Gilbert, you have anything you want to report?
Yes. Well, like I was saying earlier, the year's about to come to an end, you know, and I think we did a lot of good things. A lot of great things are happening in the city of Shafter, and also I just want to just a quick highlights of our Christmas parade that we had on Friday. It was actually a successful event, and it was all due to everybody who participated in the parade and all the sponsors and all the help that we had to make it successful. First of all, I want to thank the city council for allowing us to have the Christmas parade. And then I want to say thank you to city manager Gabriel and Mike James. And also want to extend a thank you to Kevin Gibson. And there was 2 employees. One was Juan Verdugo. I don't know the other one, Mike. What was his name? The young man.
One of the newer recruits, gosh, I don't know.
Yeah, I forgot his name, but I do want to recognize him, but
One of the Carloses, but
Yeah, we're fine
we've
now.
got 3, so I'm juggling 3 Carlos.
Okay. Okay, Carlos, I just want to say thank you to Carlos and Juan. They were there from about noon to pretty much to the closing time, and they were very helpful. And also I don't want to also extend to the Shafter PD. Chief, thank you for being in the parade, and thank you for all your staff. Thank you, Sergeant Gomez, for leading the operation. Everything as far as I know was peaceful. I don't think anybody got arrested, nothing like that, so that's good. Not yet, so, but so with all that said, you know, I just want to say again, thank you to everyone, and thank you for council for allowing us to have that Christmas parade. And that's it.
Chad?
Yeah. Man, it's been a little bit actually. So got to enjoy some warm weather in Hawaii for a couple days. So I apologize for not, Yeah, I know. So I apologize for not being here on the last council, but I was enjoying some much needed family time. But we are here now. I do want to say great job to Lions Club, to yourself for putting that on. I don't remember how many entries you said, over 40. It was a great event. Great to see everybody out there. Great to see bubbles coming from a trash truck. And I always enjoy your entry, by the way. So it was really good to see everybody out there out at the park. It was cold. but overall, I think it was pretty good. I want to say a big thank you to the staff, to Rachel, to Public Works, and all the folks who also set up for the Christmas tree lighting festivities last night. Not quite sure how I feel about Santa in the front seat of a police car, but we'll go along with it for now. Great job. The tree is beautiful. As always, you guys have done a fantastic job in decorating, and it was a lot of fun to be a part of that. And a big congratulations to Shafter High. Their football program is now moving on to state, going up to Orland this Saturday to try to bring home that state trophy. It is going to be raining, so pray for safe travels for everybody who's going up that route. For the boys, as they're up there playing in the rain, just hoping for safety for all the guys there. It's the last game and everyone's tired, but very, very, very proud of what they've been able to accomplish. Just want to make a quick note. We are working with them and going to hold a community rally December 23rd. It's a Friday. It'll be down at the Plaza, which is the park down here in downtown. So they'll be out there. Hopefully they'll be there with all 3 of their plaques. Right now they have 2, so we're working for that 3rd one. But just a congratulatory for them and what they've been able to accomplish. And I'm not positive on the time, but you're probably looking around 5 o'clock. So hopefully we can see everybody there. And I believe that's everything I have. Thank you.
Susan?
Well, I want to start out telling all city staff and council, thank you. For my family, I want to thank you for all the prayers, gifts to my son and my family while he was in Madera. That's why I've been away for a while. On October 30th, he was flown to Valley Children's Hospital. The very next day, he had brain surgery. We ended up spending almost 3 weeks there. He's at home now, thank God, and recovering. That's why I've been away. Really haven't been involved in anything because nothing mattered at this point. What mattered was my son's health. I'm going to end it at that. But I
It looks
appreciate,
good
yeah,
today. Mhm.
yeah. I just don't want to get emotional. Still going on. Thank you.
Pete?
I attended the Kern County Energy Summit now at the Marriott Hotel in Bakersfield. A lot of information about future plans for the energy for Kern County. I also attended the football games, one in Madera, then Thanksgiving. I want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving to them and their family. Attended a second football game in Carruthers, and then Lions Day Parade, and then attended another football game, which is very exciting. It's been very, very exciting football all the way through, and I just wish the Shafter football team all the best luck in the world going up on their state championship game. Also attended the annual tree Christmas lighting, and I was glad to see the big turnout. The decorations were very, very nice, and everyone looked like they were enjoying themselves. So I'd like to thank all those involved in that. And then Shafter's going to take on Orland up north for the state championship. So I plan on being there, and I just want to wish them all the luck. Go Shafter Generals. That's it.
Wow. Okay, we had the Energy Summit, and Pete and I were both there. I do have a book at the Energy Summit, and Pete and I were both there. I do have a booklet. If you're interested in looking at it, I'll pass it down here. What's interesting about the Energy Summit, we've come a long way from 1890. And if you really stop and think about it, energy has changed through those years. We went from biomass to coal to oil to gas to other things such as wind, solar, and low carbon and renewable power. We really advanced, and the technology that was shared even with us at the summit is really amazing. And I believe Pete would agree that even though you're not really involved in some of this technology that they're coming forward, it's pretty exciting to listen to the possibilities and the advancement that Kern County especially is involved in. And I have to say in honesty too, that it's good that we've been able to advance and we're in an area because we are open area in a state. And yet they're wanting to eliminate our gas and our oil and our ag. And so it's kind of concerning, and it was obvious at the meeting. And yet with everything that's happening, the technology and the policies that are going forward, at least we're open and we're going to continue to see a lot of that advance, and pretty fortunate what's coming up. Here's a quick one. The other one was, I went to COG meeting. There wasn't much on the agenda. They did serve a nice Thanksgiving dinner, which was nice to sit around with most of the board members that were there. Also, the housing element. We had a housing element, and I think I forgot to mention that one. Yeah. Pete and I were both in attendance at that one too. And the housing element is necessary for our general plan. And really what I can say about it, it's the needs of housing in our community. And we have projected growth that's coming not just to Shafter, but to the valley. And so the state is requiring a huge amount of changes in how they're going to tell us what we need to have and do for our community. So they will continue to have other workshops. And of the public that attended, I didn't get a count, but there wasn't many, maybe 6. Yeah, probably six people that were there. And it was live streamed, so I'm hoping some people did listen to. But you know, it is going to be something that's important for us, and some of it we'll have to just kind of work through it. But at least we're into the phase, and it'll come along. The other one, we did decorate downtown, and it takes an awful lot of us. And I have to say this year I was fortunate to get to work with Rachel because we start early in planning, choosing our colors and choosing our decorations and choosing a lot of what we want to see and do here, and then working with Public Works. And it has worked out very well. And I think everybody that came forward really had a good time. And I believe we've hit every department in the city has something that we've been able to help celebrate the season. I did attend an oath of office for a facility manager that we recently hired here, Kenneth Green. He seemed very excited and had his family here in attendance too. Also, we hired a new person to replace Becky in the police department for the administrative assistant named Griselda Hernandez. And Chief, are we going to get to meet her? You should bring her in. Yeah, we can meet her at the next one. She comes from a neighboring town, but that's okay because she chose to come and work here. We love it. So we're excited for her, and I know Chief is really excited about having her here. Also, the parade, I have to say that I felt really good about it. I rode in 2 units after we finished the council. I was fortunate because we could be at one end of the parade as well as at the other end of the parade. And Chad, as well as Pete, did the same thing. We rode first and then we ride again in another unit. So that was fun. Well attended with people and organized, which your parade people are very in tune to what they need to do to set up a parade. And it really shows when we have a lot of people that continually give back to us. And then our citizens benefited from it. So yeah, it takes a lot of people to put it on. And Chief knows that too, with all the added security that we have, as well as just making sure it runs smoothly. So I have to say, really appreciation to the Lions Club as well as to you, Gilbert. Yes, sir. And then, of course, the Christmas thing that was held last night downtown. We moved from just the actual corner. We still lit up the tree on the corner, but we had entertainment up on the stage and lots of suggestions as to what we can do to even add and enhance and really promote that. The attendance was really good. The weather was perfect. We'll work closer with the sound because the sound didn't project for the entertainers or the singers that were out there. Somehow we'll have to work on that one and either get bigger groups or somehow, because it's not the system, it's just the group and the openness that's out there. And so we'll work on that one to make it even project better because they were all fun and they were all great. So appreciate all the staff and all of the attendance that was there too. Very successful. So if there's no other comments on that, we'll move on to consent calendar. And on the consent calendar, we have 8 items. We have approval of checks, payroll, the minutes for November the 15th, the overtime report for November. We have a special event permit for a toy drive to be held at Veterans Park on December the 10th, which is this Saturday. Number 6 is to approve the cancellation of a regular scheduled city council meeting for January 3rd, 2023. Number 7 is council approve the renewal of a support contract in the amount of $11,595 with UBEO, which was formerly Ray Morgan Company, for the technical support of the city's document management system, Laserfish. And I guess that's what we got here to this time, huh? All this paperwork that we have for. Number 8 was the council find requested action exempt and accept dedication of easement for the street and public utility purposes from Lennar Homes, California, and authorize city engineer to record the said documents. Any questions or comments on any of the items?
Oh, ma'am.
Okay,
Make a motion to approve the consent calendar as read.
Second it.
okay. We have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Givens, seconded by Councilmember Lopez to approve consent calendar as read.
Councilmember Alvarado,
Yes.
Given,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
and Prout.
Yes. We'll move on to, gotta get my right place here. Public hearings, and the first item on the public hearing is a Gossamer Grove specific plan amendment number 2205.
Yes, Honorable Mayor and Council. This item is specific plan amendment number 2205, which is a change to the adopted Gossamer Grove specific plan. So as you know, as you can see, there's just a few changes. Basically, there are 3 changes to this plan. There's 2 changes to 2 different figures, and then there's a small text change to the specific plan, and that is the extent of the revisions to the adopted specific plan that's being considered tonight. The first one is a change to figure 5.2A. As you can see on the left side, that's the original concept of the commercial area in Gossamer Grove. And Lennar Homes of California is proposing the figure on the right, which shows not only a public services area, but also to the west of that public services area in a piece of land that wasn't needed for the future police and substation and fire station, 13 additional single-family residential lots, which by the original specific plan is allowed within this area. You can also see that this figure has also been changed. Again, kind of showing a concept of a commercial area, and they sort of further refined that concept, showing again the public services area with the most current preliminary plans for the substation, police substation and fire station, as well as parking and some small changes to the circulation system around that area. As you can see, it's kind of hard to see, but there's just one little tiny change. Essentially, they're asking for the ability to maybe do attached or detached residential units within this area. So they're requesting a small textual change to the text of the specific plan area. And with that, staff recommends that you conduct a hearing and introduce for first reading by title only and waive reading ordinance number 745, which makes findings and adopts specific plan amendment number 2205 to the Gossamer Grove specific plan. With that, I'm here to entertain any questions you may have.
Any questions, of staff? No. Good report. And it's pretty exciting to see that changes that they're asking out there that includes our police station and fire station.
Absolutely. And pretty soon you'll be,
Yeah.
the planning commission will be considering the grant deeds for that public services area.
And I know we're working on the retail part too, which precedes that right in the front, right off of 7th Standard, which is.
Yeah, we've already met with the people that are going to be developing the commercial area and provided the city engineer, planning, public works have already provided initial comments on their first pass of the site plan, gave them some comments about how to queue in cars, ingress, egress, utilizing the existing circulation system to the greatest extent possible.
Yeah, be fun. Any comments? Okay, at this time, I'd like to open the public hearing for anyone who cares to address the council for or against specific plan amendment number 22-05. Hearing none. We'll close the public hearing. It's a pleasure of the council.
I would like to make a motion to approve the public hearing item number 1 as read.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Gibbons, seconded by Councilmember Lopez to approve ordinance number 745. I'm sorry, waive the reading.
Councilmember Alvarado,
Yes.
Gibbon,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
and Prout.
Yes. Number 2 item is a zone code amendment number 22-17, which is amending Title 16 subdivision ordinance and 17 zone ordinance of the City of Shafter Municipal Code.
Yes, Honorable Mayor and Council, as you know, in October, we brought forward this item for consideration. It was continued to a date certain of today. I wanted to note that as I was reviewing, getting ready for this presentation tonight, that we actually had the old ordinance that was considered on October 4th in the agenda. Based on your guys' comments at the time, we had revised that ordinance. So I had provided you an accurate copy of that ordinance up on the dais. And we also have copies of that available to the public if they wish to see that as well. And with that, I'm going to go into my presentation. So this is Zone Code Amendment number 2217, which are changes to Title 16 and 17. The first changes revolves around essentially changes to state law regarding ADUs. Just to give you a sense of some of the changes, and you can see those in the final chapter, which is Exhibit A of Exhibit 1. It's in strike-through underlined format, and it has also been highlighted for easy reference. Essentially, some of the highlights are that ADUs and JDUs, and again, an ADU is an accessory dwelling unit. And a JDU is a junior accessory dwelling unit, essentially an accessory dwelling unit that is contained within an existing structure. JDUs and ADUs are now by right in California in the residential zone, including multifamily and single family residential. The setback requirements for JDUs and ADUs is a 4 foot for the side yard and rear yard setback. So as long as you stay out of that 4 feet, you can build a structure within the side yard and backyard. There is no off-street parking requirements under certain conditions under state law. ADUs would include the possibility of using manufactured homes. It's allowed by right in state law to use manufactured homes, provided they meet modern building code. And generally ADUs are up to 1,000 square feet and JADUs are up to 500 square feet. In working on this document, I utilized heavily on our city attorney's office to help me with template language particularly for the ADU, JADU portion to be in compliance with state law. We'll go on. The other change here is a little change to landscaping. Essentially, you can't prohibit drought tolerant landscaping, synthetic grass, or artificial turf rather on residential properties, provided you can impose restrictions provided they do not substantially increase installation costs, prohibit installation, or impede installation. So that's a small change to code, basically allowing drought tolerant landscaping. We also noticed that there, and this is in talking with the building official, that our setback requirements, minimum setback between
Here, stay. I have service.
our setback requirements for let's go back. Get that. Sorry about that. The setback requirements for between a structure, a primary structure, and an accessory structure is at least 10 feet separation. And again, I kind of explained, like, there are some backyards, such as in the Gossamer Grove area, that that setback requirement actually excludes them from pretty much building anything in their backyard, including small sheds, things of that nature. And the California Building Code has allowances for less than 10-foot setback minimum requirement distance, provided certain things happen, such as like, possibly firewalls, things of that nature. And that would be analyzed and determined on a case-by-case basis from the building department. And also there's just minor inconsistencies. It's an old ordinance. Numbers have changed. They're no longer accurate. So we have cleaned up essentially some numberings that are no longer accurate to make them accurate, as well as, again, I kind of, last year we did some stuff about urban lot splits. I inadvertently put the urban lot split in sort of a section of Title 16 that doesn't make much sense. So we're just moving it to a section for clarity that's where it does make sense. And that's pretty much the extent of that change. Those are the only changes we're requesting at this time with this ordinance. Any changes that we're considering at the October 4th meeting, we'll bring forward at a later date if staff still feels that it's something that should be considered by the council. And with that, I would continue the hearing and introduce for first reading by title only and waive reading of ordinance number 735, which revises title 16 and 17 of the Shafter Municipal Code. And with that, I'm here to available to answer any questions. Thank you.
Any questions of staff? Okay, at this time, I'd like to open the public hearing for anyone who cares to address council may do so at this time, either for or against. Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. Any other comments or retain a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Are you gonna say something? Yeah, I saw you stand up.
He's next.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I want to make sure. I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Lopez, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Givens to waive the reading of ordinance number 735.
Councilmember Alvarado,
Yes.
Given,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
and Prout.
Yes. Okay, we move on to number 3, which is adopt the ordinance 743, repealing and adding new chapters of Title 15, Code of the Building Regulations of the City of Shafter, as well as include the adoption of the California Building Standards Code as modified to provide a new code of building regulations.
Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council, the proposed ordinance 743 is to repeal and replace Title 15 of the Shafter Municipal Code for a new code of building regulations. The ordinance has reference codes, including the adoption of the California Building Standards Code, also known as the 2022 codes that will become effective on January 1st, 2023. On November 15th, the ordinance was introduced for the first reading and the findings were adopted that the local amendments to the California Building Standards Codes were reasonable and necessary due to local climatic, topographic, and geological conditions. And we set tonight as the hearing date. As mentioned on the November 15th meeting, city staff has worked with the county staff as well as other local jurisdictions to create the Code of Building Regulations. Several health and safety code sections provide local jurisdictions an opportunity during the local code adoption process to make reasonable and necessary changes to the California Building Standards Code. However, these amendments need to be more restrictive. Most of the proposed amendments are a continuation of previously adopted amendments from prior code cycles, including the administrative changes that we're requesting. The recommendation tonight is to conduct the public hearing, introduce ordinance 743, and adopt 743 for a new code of building regulations. I'm here for any questions you may have.
Any questions of staff? Okay, we'll open the public hearing. Anyone care to address the council for or against? You come forward at this time. Hearing none. Close the public hearing. Okay, council.
More codes. Mhm. I'll make a motion to approve as read.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Givens, seconded by Councilmember Lopez to conduct this hearing. Introduce second reading by title only and waive reading. Ordinance number 743.
Councilmember Alvarado,
Yes.
Given,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
and Prout.
Yes. Okay. Next item is the public hearing to conduct public input of proposed community development block grant. Is that, yeah, that's right. Project, application for fiscal year 2023 and 2024.
Honorable Mayor, members of the Shafter City Council. The city of Shafter participates in the Kern County, in a cooperative partnership with Kern County Home Funding Program, through which we receive CDBG funds. Due to the nature of this project or the nature of this partnership and the sort of uncertain timing of the distribution of the funds, we focused on projects that are not related to, are not time sensitive and are not coordinated with larger projects. So the staff is recommending a project that would be on the south side of the Shafter Library and Learning Center to make improvements that would fence off that area, add furniture improvements, some aesthetic improvements, landscaping, as well as storage facilities. So staff is recommending that we open the public hearing and adopt resolution 2897. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, this is a public hearing. I'll open the council. Any comments for or against? Or proposed community development block grant project? Hearing none, we'll close this public hearing. Council?
Real quick, how long has it been since we received the last funding? I mean, what's the cycle? 3 years?
Oh, we do every year.
Well, how long does it take them to actually?
Like one answer.
Mayor Pro Tem Givens, the last project we completed was the Lerdo Median streetscape work several years ago.
Yeah.
We have at least 4 to 5 years worth of annual allocations being weighted for funding agreements. We've made it fairly easy for the county to authorize or move forward with most of those allocations. We've asked the county to consider consolidating 4 years of funding for a project at Rodriguez Park. And then I believe if Mr. Franz's project is authorized, then he'll have 2 years of funding to work with.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, and we ask for it every year and it's always approved, but the county is always like 3 years behind, 2 or 3 years behind. And it seemed a little bit more recently. That's why I just asked.
In fairness to the county, we did initially award open bids for a shade structure at the aquatic center, and we opted to cancel that, given that there wasn't a funding agreement or an operations agreement for the pool at the time. And we also opted to reallocate money that had been earmarked for the soccer field lighting at Veterans Park, because the ARPA funding became available.
Right.
And it was on a much faster track to use than the CDBG funds. So, but nonetheless, we're working closely with the county to get caught up on the allocations that are outstanding.
Perfect. With that, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Givens, seconded by Councilmember Lopez to adopt resolution number 2897.
Councilmember Alvarado,
Yes.
Given,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
Espinoza, and Prout.
Yes. Okay, the next item is to adopt resolution number 2895. Do I need to read all of that? Should I read
No.
all of it?
Probably don't.
No? Okay. It does have to do with the environmental impact report.
Well, it's actually, it's related to specific plan. It's kind of buried in there a little bit, and I apologize for the wordiness. It probably could have just been called specific plan amendment number 2103, which is Heritage Ranch. Now, if you approve this specific plan amendment, it will change its name to Marcona Preserve rather than Heritage Ranch. So this is a specific plan amendment for the Heritage Ranch specific plan. As you can see, this is the vicinity map. That's the entire specific plan area. Just to note, the northern portion is currently occupied by a solar facility. There is plans though through Lennar Homes to develop the southern portion of the site with single-family residential. And that's what the thrust of this specific plan amendment is regarding, is changes to facilitate that development. The changes are as follows. They want to change the name of Heritage Ranch to Marcona Preserve. They want to remove provisions for a gated, age-restricted neighborhood with privately maintained infrastructure. That was the concept of Heritage Ranch. Currently, now that Lennar has taken over, they would actually like to change that concept to just general specific plan, single-family residential homes in the area that are not restricted in that way. They want to remove a swimming pool and private recreation building. Again, that was going to be part of that sort of age-restricted private neighborhood, and that would have been a amenity for the entire neighborhood. They want to revise the development standards related to minimum lot sizes and setbacks to provide them flexibility in the housing products that they use, and they needed some changes to those to be able to use those housing products. They want to increase the allowed lot coverage for the area, essentially how much of the lot is covered by a home. They want to increase that percentage. They wanted to remove the plant palette. There was a very specific plant palette in the specific plan that probably worked about 15 years ago, but in light of kind of new regulations and whatnot, they wanted to have a little more flexibility in their landscape plans, not be constrained to just that palette. And of course, landscape plans go through review before they're approved. They also wanted to replace the house elevations and floor plans with Lennar products. It was a Centrix product when Heritage Ranch was proposed, and now Lennar wants to utilize their own home products, the homes that they have designed and have built in the past, namely in Gossamer Road to the east. And there's some minor corrections, changes, and updates to the text. Again, just sort of general text cleanup, and that's the extent of the changes that Lennar Homes is proposing for the Marcona Preserve specific plan area. With that, I would recommend you conduct hearing and you adopt resolution 2895, a resolution certifying the addendum to the final EIR for this project so that the project complies with CEQA, and also to introduce for first reading by title only and waive reading of ordinance number 744, which makes findings and adopts specific plan amendment number 2103 to the Heritage Ranch or Marcona Preserve specific plan. And with that, I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions of staff? Okay, at this time, I'd like to open the public hearing if anyone cares to address the council in regards to this project. Heritage Ranch is now going to be called Marcona Preserve. Hearing none.
Mayor Prout, we see that there's a hand up from Whitney Jackson.
Okay.
Good evening. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council. I'm Whitney Jackson with McIntosh and Associates. I'm here on behalf of the developer, Lennar, and we have any questions. If you want to address them, we can answer them to the best of our knowledge, and we support the project. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Nothing locally, anything online? No, okay. Close the public hearing. No other comments. We need a motion.
Make a motion to approve as read.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Givens, seconded by Councilmember Lopez to adopt resolution number 2895 and introduce ordinance number 744.
Councilmember Alvarado,
Yes.
Givens,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
and Prout.
Yes. Okay, we're starting with management reports. Number 1, we have acceptance of the City of Shafter Comprehensive Annual Financial Report for the year ended June 30th, 2021.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members. So before you, hopefully you were provided with the annual comprehensive annual report. And so this is in regards to fiscal year 2021. And I'd like to briefly introduce the audit partner, Kelly Telford, who will be presented a few points. And And after she's completed with that, I will do a brief presentation. So Kelly, if you could take time.
Yes, thank you very much. I did prepare a presentation. Would you like me to share it from my side or do you have it on your guys' end?
Yes, please, if you could share from your side.
Sure. Give me just a moment. Arrange my screens. Let's see if it. Of course, it's sharing the wrong screen. My apologies. All right. I believe you can see the slide deck. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. And thank you for inviting me to present along with the Finance Department, the audited financial statements for fiscal year 2020, 2021. LSL has completed the audit. We've issued 3 letters in conjunction with that audit. We've issued our opinion letter, an internal control and other matters letter, and an audit communication letter. The audit process for 2021 was a little bit different than normal. As you are aware, there were a number of obstacles that the Finance Department had to overcome during 2021, which also had an impact on the audit. Fieldwork was conducted over the last few months, and we issued our financial statements just before Thanksgiving. It's important to note that management is responsible for the financial statements before you tonight. Our responsibility as your auditors is to express an opinion on those financial statements and whether or not they are accurate and reliable. During the audit, we conducted detailed testing on a number of significant balances in order to provide reasonable but not absolute assurance on the financial statements and that they're free from material misstatement. We did issue an unmodified opinion. This is considered a clean opinion, meaning it is compliant with all GASB statements, California government code requirements, and any other accounting items that are required to be addressed. The second letter that we issued was our report on internal controls. We're required during the audit to assess the city's internal controls, both over financial reporting and over safeguarding assets. We do not express an opinion on internal controls, but we are required to disclose certain significant deficiencies or material weaknesses that we identify during the audit. We did disclose 4 material weaknesses during the course of the audit. A lot of these appear to be due to some of those challenges that the Finance Department has been through over the last couple of years, including the implementation of a new accounting software, the city encountering ransomware, and of course the change in finance personnel, most notably the finance manager and the finance director. Any one of these issues alone can cause issues with internal controls and ultimately impact the accuracy of financial reporting. But dealing with all of these together really created a challenge for the Finance Department, and they had to overcome all of those challenges in order for us to be able to opine on these financials tonight. We are required to disclose these items in these letters, but I will say that I think a lot of these have already been addressed, particularly with the city already preparing for the 2021-22 close. But I'll go through those just really briefly. The first one is related to a delay in financial reporting. Anytime we have financial statements that issue more than 6 months after the end of the fiscal year, we disclose this as a finding. This is probably one of our most common ones for organizations that have delays such as yourselves. The second finding relates to inadequate internal controls over financial reporting. The biggest impact for this one was the ransomware and the new financial software. There were delays in reconciling the bank accounts. There were a number of audit adjustments that had to be done to correct account balances. But I do think a lot of that was just those 3 challenges I'd mentioned. The third item is actually probably the most significant, but this has already been addressed. This is related to cash handling practices in the finance department during the transition to the new financial software. Not all of the cash receipts were processed timely, which creates an increase in the fraud risk for the city, somebody taking that cash. We did some additional testing. We did not identify any fraud occurring. So I wanted to give you, not the 100% assurance, but the reassurance that we had done a little bit additional due diligence on your behalf. And then the last item is the failure to maintain internal controls due to the system conversion. Again, this happens a lot when there's new system conversions. Certain accounts have a tendency to not be changed once those numbers come over from the old system. So it's not unusual. These have already been addressed as a part of our 2021 audit. So I would expect that the majority of these fall off after this year. We also issued our final communication letter. It includes some general information about our interactions with your team. Some key points I would like to make. We did not encounter any difficulties working with management. In fact, it was quite the opposite. Because of these challenges, we audited significantly more than we probably would have had they not happened. And your team was very patient, helpful in answering questions and really researching what exactly happened and what the remedy is to be able to fix those issues. They really did push forward to be able to bring these financial statements to you as quickly as we could. I also want to point out that there is another challenge ahead of your finance department. We are implementing a new GASB in 2022, and this changes the accounting for leases. This is a little bit of an arduous task. It's a little bit of a complex GASB. We've been working with your team, they're aware of it, and they've already started preparing for it. So I do anticipate that we'll be able to get this one implemented pretty good. I don't think we'll have any major issues. So you're probably asking what's next? What's the plan to get us caught up, to get through the 2022 audit? And now that we're already halfway through the 2023 fiscal year, get that one done as well. I wanted to give you a brief timeline, just from an expectation perspective. The single audit is being worked on as we speak. We are working on the planning phase and expect to issue that more than likely in January. In January and February, we're conducting the 2022 audit. All of the reports, including the single audit and TDA audit, are expected to be issued by March 31st, 2023, which officially puts the city back on track from a reporting perspective. And then we anticipate 2023 being a normal audit schedule. The finance department has made a number of improvements. They're already well on their way to achieving this schedule. So we're confident we'll be able to bring these to you within this timeline. That concludes my presentation. I would like to give a really strong thank you to your finance department team. Roger Sanchez and Rocio Mosqueda did an amazing job helping us across the finish line, especially given that it was our first year as your auditors, coupled with all of these challenges. I feel really good that the team is prepared for next year. And I think that should give you a little bit of confidence too, that they really do have it together and are ready to move forward. That concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Council have any questions? Comments? I appreciate your report, and you were very thorough and upfront and honest about the whole thing. And it does make all of us feel really good that we have this one audit completed, and certainly we're going to be ready for the next one. It's due right now. So thank you so much, Stu Kelly.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
And we do appreciate our staff that's in the finance department.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
So I would like to give a brief presentation on on the financial results for the same year that we've discussed. Okay. So as already mentioned, we have a clean opinion for 2020-21, and we have an improved schedule for the upcoming year. I would like to give you a brief overview of the citywide financial position. And we'll focus on the general fund, the fund balance, and especially the revenues. So this is the citywide net position with a book value over $200 million. The market value is higher than that, but I just wanted to give you an overview of the citywide. If you noticed, the pink area on the bottom, it represents the liabilities, and the green represents the net position, meaning that this city of Shafter is a rare gem. It has a very strong financial position. There's no debt, and the liabilities are minimal. Citywide operating costs, you can see citywide, the labor cost. Notice that in 17-18 has a higher value. This is excluding the MCCF. The higher value is because of the prepayment for the PERS and funded liability. Then we see the M&O, internal charges, and ultimately the total operating expenses over multiple years. And the upcoming budget, of course, we're still current on 22-23. That remains to be seen if we have any savings. On the general fund, this is a historical fund balance by category. First, we have the non-spendable, the assigned. On the closed session, city manager will give me a few minutes to give you an overview because it has some confidential information within this area. I can give you the details on that area. The unassigned that is available for spending at council discretion. And if you can see the total year over year, we noticed an increase from the 19-20 to the 21 year. So very good shape on the fund balance for general fund. We have the historical general fund operating revenues, excluding charges and transfers. So just to give you, we have the net sales taxes, net of any agreements. So this is what's left for the city. We have other taxes, other operating expenses, and total operating revenue. Notice that the 21-22 is still not audited, but we do have a very good estimates there. The 5-year building operations, this is the only one that will give you on a department level because I believe that this is a good indicator of the health of the growth of the city. So we have labor cost, M&O. Notice the building revenues versus the operating expenses. So the revenues cover the expenses. But what's interesting, I wanted to point out that the compound 5-year annual growth rate is at 18% on the building revenue, which is phenomenal. So if things continue, it's a reflection of future revenues for property taxes, online sales taxes, and other areas as well. Citywide labor cost by fund. If you notice, the general fund is the biggest of all, and all the others are minor. They're small compared to the general fund when it comes to labor cost. The general fund operating revenues versus expenses. We have the labor cost on general fund, materials and M&O, utilities, internal charges. And the total operating cost, once you compare to the operating revenues. So again, this excludes capital items. This excludes CIP. And what that gives you is that the revenues are able to cover the operating expenses even without the grants. So excellent condition. Again, the 1718 is because of the prepayment for unfunded liability. And overall, year over year, it's been in fantastic shape. I'd like to give you an introduction of sales taxes so we can dive. Sales taxes is such an important component of the city's revenues. If you notice, this is the historical online sales taxes in Kern County. So almost $37 million. And the yellow is the Shafter portion. So we collect 4.1 million in fiscal year 22 related to online sales taxes. And I'll come back into those further details in closed session as well. So the big increase that you see on 20 and 21 is mainly due to the Supreme Court ruling in favor for the sales taxes so that states can collect taxes on the point of delivery. So that was a big change, and we're seeing the benefits, as you can see. So Shafter versus Kern County online sales taxes. So this chart gives a population. Shafter represents about 2%, 20,000, 21,000. So about 2%. But if you notice on the right side, even though it's 2% of the population, Shafter collects 10% of the online sales taxes. So there's a lot of activity compared to the rest of the county, as you can see. Shafter net sales taxes by category. And this is the first component on the gray is 16-17 year, and we're comparing to the 21-22. You can see a 5-year change by category. And the pool, the biggest category is the online county pool, even greater than retail. And the second one is retail. As you can see, big growth in retail and other areas. So the one that is a decrease is on business to business, the industrial component related to oil and gas mainly. Historical net sales taxes by category. This is the previous same information. You can see the trend on the business to business. And then you can see construction, food, retail, transportation, online, and the total. In the 2017 fiscal year, it came in a downward trend, but ever since we've been on an upward trend on overall sales taxes. On the enterprise funds, the wastewater, so you can see we have the total revenues, and then we have the expenses. We have depreciation expense, total cost, and on the bottom for 2021 at $30,000. So it's very, very tight on the wastewater for this particular year. On the water fund, it's also very tight. You can see the revenues, the total cost, and the net income at $820,000. On the refuse, we have a slight operating loss at $130,000. You can see the results. And with that, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Council have any questions?
The revenues for sales tax when it comes to food versus retail, the food processing is not restaurants. That restaurant falls underneath retail, correct?
I have to check on the specific businesses that make up that component, but I can give you that answer during the closed session.
Yeah, just curious on that, because $250,000 for Shafter on sales tax revenue doesn't seem like a lot for food processing, but it makes sense if that's piled into retail. So that's the only reason I ask.
Okay.
Any other comments?
Roger, I'd just like to say thank you for your report. I mean, for a guy like me, it's sometimes following numbers is pretty tough, but I like the way you break it down and it makes a lot of sense. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do you have any other comments? Well, we
Comment?
appreciate, yes, we
Thank
do
you.
appreciate all of that and it's reaffirming and this makes us feel very good. So
Thank you.
thank you.
So much easier this round.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we need to have a motion to accept this comprehensive annual financial report for the year ending June 2021.
Make a motion to accept report as read.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Gibbons, seconded by Councilmember Lopez to accept our audit.
Councilmember Alvarado,
Yes.
Given,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
and Prout.
Yes. Next item is to award a construction contract to Loop Electric in the amount of $314,625 for the 2022 park lighting improvement project for Mantle Park and Veterans Park.
Yes, Honorable Mayor, members of the Shafter City Council, the Clean California grant the city was awarded will help fund over $5 million in park and recreation improvements in the core city. Among the improvements are decorative interior light replacements at Mantle Park and walkway lighting additions at Veterans Park. Staff recently bid these improvements as one project recently, and ultimately 4 bids were received. They range from approximately $314,000 to $522,000. The pre-bid estimate was $412,000. The lowest responsive bid was submitted by Loop Electric for $314,625. And Loop has performed numerous lighting and traffic signal projects successfully for the city over the past several years. Given their below bid amount, staff's targeting a project budget that could reach as high as $400,000 to cover contingencies and the potential addition of 12 walkway lights at Veterans Park, which we have the electrical service capacity for. And those have been factored into the ultimate design. So the grant allocation for the lighting improvements are more than sufficient to cover the budget target. So with that, staff is recommending an award to Loop Electric for the park lighting project.
Questions?
Are you using those lights that you guys used at the Lions Parade, the Christmas parade? Those were amazingly bright. You know the one I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
I know
Right,
exactly.
yes.
I saw him at a trade show, and then a month later, I see him at the park.
It was absolutely amazing to see that little guy out there. I didn't realize you can get that much
A
light.
little guy, but it was dynamic.
It was
Yes,
dynamic.
it
They're
was.
actually used on paving machines for night work. So
That makes sense.
We just have the one.
we have a couple, but I can assure you as effective as those are, we're striving for something a little more decorative for this project.
Maybe a little higher up.
Okay,
too.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah, that might be a good call.
I'm very happy to see this project moving forward. I'll make a motion to approve as read.
Second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Gibbons, seconded by Councilmember Lopez.
Councilmember Alvarado,
I just had a quick question there, Mike, on what you saw during the Christmas parade and what you have plans to do at Mantle Park. Is there going to be some help there or still going to be dark areas?
Oh, yeah.
Well, the fixtures will be LED and the illumination area will be significantly better. But the plan is not to have any dark spots with this project.
Okay.
And if there are problematic areas, then we have the electrical service capacity to expand the project.
Also, almost, yes.
Councilmember Given,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
and Prout.
Yes. Next item is to award professional services contract for North Shafter Community Park Development, Architectural and Engineering Design.
Honorable Mayor, members of the Shafter City Council, in addition to the Clean California grant, the city was awarded $3.8 million in state grant funds to design and construct a new community park in North Shafter. Staff recently completed a request for proposals to professional services to design the park and received 3 proposals. Unlike construction bids, evaluating engineering work that's ultimately funded by grants are typically based solely on qualifications without an initial consideration for costs. So staff ranked these proposals based on qualifications, and we determined that all three were qualified to do the job. But ultimately, Win Smith Landscape Architecture was the most qualified to complete the project. Now, Win Smith is based in the San Diego area, but they have designed parks for the Gossamer Grove area. And ultimately, staff later received the cost proposal from Win Smith, valued at $342,022 for the work. And given the scope of work and the number of amenities that are planned with this park, staff views that this is a fair cost for what's proposed. And it's important to point out that this project would be 100% grant funded. So the design work is ready to proceed, but it will realistically take most of 2023 to complete, and we'll be able, hopefully be in a position to put this park development out to bid by 2024. So to proceed with the design phase, staff is requesting that council authorize a professional services contract award to Win Smith.
Questions?
Mike, I got a question. When we look at choosing someone that does the services for us, like you said, this company's done down in San Diego.
They're based in San Diego.
They're based in San Diego.
Correct.
Okay. How much do we or do we look for people a little bit more closer to you know, like to keep the money more locally versus, you know, some company from San Diego? I know that they've done work for us before in the past. I was just wondering how that works.
Well, in this particular case, the emphasis, we certainly reached out to numerous firms in this area, but ultimately we had to consider the qualifications to not only their familiarity with the scope of work, their familiarity with state grant procedures, and the timeliness in which they could deliver the design. And so two of the three companies were based in Bakersfield, and we've worked with them on separate projects. But given the criteria that we were looking for a state-funded grant project, and then I should point out, Win Smith has had very positive feedback from the design work they've done in Gossamer Grove. And I think we would like to be able to continue seeing their work product in North Shafter.
Okay, thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Lopez, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Givens.
You're good.
Councilmember Alvarado,
Yes.
Given,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yeah.
and Proud.
Yes. Next item is to approve the proposal for professional services from Teeter in the amount of $40,000 for the programming and conceptual design of the new police substation and fire station.
Sorry, Mayor and Council, I'll be making that staff report. As previously mentioned, the city was successful in receiving a $6 million state grant through Senator Hurtado's office for the construction of a future substation at Gossamer Grove. The primary focus of that grant will be to construct the police substation. If there's any funding left, we can make a contribution to Kern County Fire for the construction of their fire station, of which we've been in discussions with the fire chief in terms of that arrangement. Staff has been diligently working through Senator Hurtado's office trying to get a funding agreement, but as you can imagine, the state's not moves very fast. And so we believe that in order to keep momentum forward, and since we've already secured the land, as our planning managers already mentioned, at the next meeting, we'll be bringing to you the documentation to transfer the 5-acre property from Lennar to the city. And so we believe that moving forward is imperative that we do that. Based on data that we have for the specific plans in the wonderful industrial park, we know that there's approximately 3,400 homes being constructed by Gossamer Grove, with an additional homes from Heritage Ranch and Mission Lakes consisting of 880 and an additional 5,300 respectively to be constructed in the next 7 to 10 years at full build out. In addition, the wonderful industrial park at full build out would add approximately 16 million square feet of distribution center and warehouse space. That doesn't include any additional land that Wonderful may wish to annex it, add to their specific plan for to the master plan for their industrial park. So given the increased growth, we know that calls for service from 2012 to 2022, we're averaging a little over 800 per year calls for service, and that's only going to continue to grow as more homes are constructed. On the fire side, the fire station to the south, I believe it's Station 65, calls for service in combination with Station 32. Most of the calls have been medical calls, but in the calls generated, we're probably responding to about 20% of the calls along that seventh standard corridor. This is a sole source proposal award pursuant to the city municipal code section 2.68.270 that allows for the contracting of professional services to be on a sole source base. Again, in the interest of time, we are proposing to move forward on a sole source basis. Using local funds, we're allowed to do that. And so that way the funds we get from the state will be able to use for the construction of that but when we do get that funding agreement, maybe sometime early next year, I'm hopeful. But this way we can continue to move forward. We'll be able to start doing the conceptual design and programming. In fact, we have a kickoff meeting. We were tentatively scheduled subject to tonight's council action to approve this contract award for next week to commence the design and programming with our police department design team, as well as the Kern County Fire design team. And so this evening, we're, on the fiscal impact, there's no impact to the general fund in terms of a budget amendment because there's sufficient money in the current 22-23 operating budget for which we have available. With regards to the split with Kern County Fire, the estimate for the proposal is $40,000. So that's being split 50-50, 50 to the city, 50 for Kern County Fire. We do have a service agreement with Kern County Fire. There is a clause in there that allows them to give us a credit for any contribution we make towards the fire. And so the fire chief and I have been in discussions that for the nominal amount of $20,000, it makes more sense and more feasible for them to just give us a credit off our annual service contract amount. Otherwise, if we were to do a funding reimbursement agreement with Kern County Fire, it may be months before that gets before the Board of Supervisor. It would have to go through their county council, then to the Board of Supervisors. And that's only going to delay the process, being that we have a Teeter architect ready to go. So with that, staff is recommending approval of the proposal and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement with Teeter Architectural for the programming and conceptual design of both the proposed police substation and fire station.
Any questions?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Gibbons, seconded by Councilmember Lopez.
Councilmember Alvarado,
Yes.
Gibbon,
Yes.
Lopez,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
and Proud.
Yes. Okay, the next item for number 5 was pulled for another date. Ask for city manager comments and reports.
It's Mayor and Council, just a few reminders. Some are related to our holidays. And so December 15th, next week is our citywide holiday luncheon. You're all invited to attend. The only requirement is that you wear your most ugliest Christmas sweater. And so that we can participate.
I was just curious if you were going.
Yeah, and it's from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Veterans Hall. If you wish to participate using your own money, not city money, you're welcome to participate in, I think it's called the White Elephant Gift Exchange, $25 value. And then over at the depot, they're having the tree decorating contest again. And so we did put up a tree, the city did. And so if you go over there, please vote for ours so we can win. And then I'd like to acknowledge the work. you probably noticed the format of our agenda and staff reports. We are now automated. We have gone to an automated agenda management software application. And I want to recognize our city clerk, Yasmina, and our deputy city clerk, Vanessa, who were the lead on this project. And we had a couple bugs to work out, but it has definitely streamlined the manner in which we do our staff reports, the attachments. It's a lot smoother, more efficient. It's significantly reduced the time. And then in terms of posting and getting this out on the web and everything else has been just a few clicks. But it was a lot of work on behind the scenes that both our city clerk and deputy city clerks. I just want to acknowledge the work they did for that, because it definitely enhances our processes, more efficient, more effective. So I have nothing further with that. I believe our public works director has a quick update. So Mike.
Yes, Honorable Mayor, members of the Shafter City Council, this is in regards to the relocation of the county regional transit stop. I sent an email this morning covering this, but the benefit of those in the audience here, with the completion of the bus bay turnout at Stringham Park, city and county staff have been working together to coordinate the official relocation of the transit stop from City Hall to Stringham Park. And we were targeting this week all along, and we had some delays with the delivery of the new transit shelter for Stringham Park, but county felt comfortable moving forward with that relocation this week. And fortunately, we were able to get the transit shelter installed today. And I noticed that and for the benefit of the ridership that may not be getting the message, they're going to service both stops, I believe, until they can get the award out. But the transit stop at Stringham Park is functional, and we'll be adding relocating the benches from the old former stop to the Stringham Park location to maximize the seating available. Just an FYI.
And with that, nothing further, Mayor and Council.
Okay, we'll call for a motion to recess for closed session to have a conference with labor negotiators in regards to agency representative as well as the city manager and non-represented employees.
Good job, Yasmina. On the agenda, 1,000-page agenda is a lot to deal with. But if you don't have a ladder in your tree, I don't know how your Christmas is going to go here. Thank you, Dennis, for putting a ladder in your tree last year. Much appreciated. Public Works to one though. With that, I'll make a motion to approve or to move into closed session.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, and it's 7:18 to go into closed session. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. We are in closed session.
They had a ladder.
All right. We are back in session. Yes, I am. We're back in session and I'd like to call upon the city attorney to give us a wrap up.
Thank you, Mayor. Earlier tonight, City Council recessed into closed session. All members were present. There was one item for discussion. There was conference with labor negotiators concerning the organization listed on the agenda. City Council provided direction to its lead negotiator, and we have no reportable action. That concludes the report.
Okay. Okay, the only other business is a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Thank you. Good job. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I oppose no.